Hi, my name's Greg Thompson, and welcome to our call tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about IHSS timesheets and the payroll process. Tonight we're very pleased to have Taryn Smith with us. Taryn is working with the Senate Human Services Committee. Taryn, welcome to our call. We're going to ask Taryn some more questions, but I want to ask our first poll question. Has your or your provider's paycheck ever been late? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. All right, I want to thank you guys for answering the poll question. Now, Taryn, I understand that the committee has been formed and the hearing has taken place, and you gave us a very good explanation about the hearing. How did all this come about? Why are you guys looking at the IHSS payrolling system now?
Well, back in May of 2016, this year, a committee here at the Capitol called the Joint Legislative Audit Committee was asked to approve an audit of the IHSS payrolling system. At that hearing, there was testimony from a number of IHSS providers whose payroll was delayed. In some cases, payments were delayed a month or more, and we did hear testimony from at least one recipient that her caregiver had not been paid since January, and that those delayed payments caused her caregiver to refuse to work again until that person received payment. The audit was approved and is currently in process. We do expect an audit report coming out in February of 2017. And that's terrific. We want to see what kind of recommendations come out of that audit. But we also have members of the Senate who were surprised at the stories that they were hearing from individuals in the IHSS system who were not being paid on time. And there was a lot of attention raised at that hearing, and our chair of this committee, who is Senator Mike McGuire, committed after that to holding an oversight hearing so that we could get a leg up on the issue, get educated, and be prepared for audit findings that will be coming out in February. We do expect 3 other members of the Senate to be at this oversight hearing in LA, which I have to tell you is pretty impressive and shows the level of interest in this issue. November 1st is a week before an election. People are generally busy with election work around this time, but they're committing their time to come and hear your stories and talk about maybe some potential options for addressing these issues. So we're going to have Senator Connie Leyva, who is from Southern California, Senator Carol Liu, who's from the Bay Area, Senator Mike McGuire, who's our chair, and also Senator Richard Roth will be attending. So I think there is quite a bit of legislative interest in this issue, and we are looking forward to hearing the stories of people who are affected by this program tonight, and what we hear tonight will inform the discussion on November 1st.
Excellent. Speaking of stories, let's see if we can find some callers and take some questions. Those of you who just joined us, we're talking with Taryn Smith from the Senate Human Services Committee about IHSS payroll. Let's see. Donna, would you like to ask your question?
Yes. I'd like to know why it's taking so long to get the payroll going. I've lost 3 caregivers in the process in the last year and a half because it's taken so long.
Donna, that's a great question, and unfortunately, we don't have the answer, but that's part of what they're going to be looking at the hearing. So the fact that you've lost 3 caregivers because of late payment, that's very important information for us to have. So thank you very much for your question or your comment.
Yeah, it's actually taken 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
We have to go down there.
I'm certainly sorry to hear that, and hopefully we can generate enough interest at this hearing. Thank you so much for calling in. Let's see, Julie, who else has a good question for us?
We have Mike.
Mike, welcome to the call. Would you like to ask for a question or make a comment?
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to the.
Am I getting here? Yeah. My name is Michael, and basically, I haven't had IHSS services for 3 years. Okay, almost 4 now. Anyway, the reason for that is that because every single worker that I acquired ended up taking 3, 4, 5 months to get paid, and they all quit. And the idea is I was getting my workers, basically the people that helped me were people that I knew, as opposed to going through the pool of or the union or whatever. Anyway, but the reality is that nobody will sit there and work for 3, 4, 5 months without getting paid. Okay, I couldn't blame any of these individuals, period, for them leaving, okay? But the idea is that I was unable to acquire another one in time, so they just removed me from the program. So, so I sit here in squalor, okay, and so on and so forth without any help whatsoever. And I'm just, wondering, this has been going on for years and years and years and years. Why is it now just coming out into the open?
Michael, I appreciate your comment. I have a question for you. The providers, were they approved IHSS providers, and it took months to get paid?
They were not pre-approved providers. In other words, I wasn't getting them through the union, okay, or whatever. They were people that I knew that actually saw that I needed help and tried to help me.
Okay.
Just that simple. Anyway, the idea is if I truly am so afraid of going through the union that it's unreal. Okay, so the idea is, that wasn't even an option. But the idea is I was unable to find another one, and so they just removed me from the program.
Well, I'm so sorry that happened to you, Michael, and I really appreciate your comment. And for you or any of our listeners, if you do need a provider, if you're having trouble trying to find a provider, you can call our registry at, I'm going to give you the number, 877-5.
Yeah, I understand that, but hold on, 87.
Yeah, Mike, sorry, I think I just cut you off, but I'm going to repeat the number again, and then we'll take another question. So to call our registry, it's 877-565-4477. And one more time, it's 877-565-4477. And if you didn't get the number, hit *3 at any time, and one of our screeners would be happy to give you that number. Okay.
We have Arnold.
Arnold. Hey, Arnold, it's Greg. How are you?
Hello, yes, I'm doing okay. But it's day to day. I mean, I'm just so outraged that the system has gotten to the point where it is now. It's just beyond, it's intolerable. I mean, and I'm lucky enough to have a steady caregiver, but it's a nightmare. It's a living nightmare. It's a nightmare that's actually real. Nightmare, you recover from them, but this is actually going on right now. People can't find caregivers, and I know this covers a lot of area, and I'll rein myself in a couple of seconds. But the background checks, that was the beginning, one of the beginnings of these poison pills to try to kill this program. I don't know if it almost seems like it's purposeful, that they're actually trying to actively kill this program. If they can't do it one way, they'll do it another. And the complicated forms now, it's just beyond absurd. They don't even consider the population they're dealing with. It's just outrageous. I don't know how more to express it. And I'm angry that nothing ever happens. These guys aren't accountable to anything. I don't know if lawsuits have been filed en masse to stop this from happening. Again, Ed Roberts, the founder of the Living Movement Program, would turn over in his grave. He probably has several times. What if he could see what has happened to his baby? Anyway.
Arnold, I agree with you, and I've heard, your story and many others. But, right now is our opportunity to actually say something, and we have a Senate committee that's coming out to actually listen to us. So is there one point that, about the payroll process that you'd like them to hear?
Yes, to stop this late payment. I mean, I don't know what's happening there. I don't know what bureaucratic wheels strip their gears. I don't know what's going on there, but that's intolerable. I mean, even the arrear system, usually they would pay you within a couple of weeks, pay the caregiver rather within a couple of weeks. But now it's just, I don't know what's going on. I'm just at a loss. I don't know. And just real quickly, Greg, I'd like to know where that meeting's going to be held and what time, if you can maybe say that over the air.
Absolutely. I'll let Taryn tell everybody that one more time. And Arnold, thanks for your advocacy and thanks for calling in. Taryn, do you want to repeat the location again, please?
Certainly. So we'll be holding our hearing on November 1st at LA City Hall from 9:30 till noon.
Great, thank you. While Julie's looking for another couple of people to take live questions, I'd like to ask our second poll question. We're going to ask a few more poll questions tonight because we're trying to get Taryn some information for the Senate hearing. So I'm going to ask our second poll question now, and I'll repeat it twice like always. This question is for the recipients or consumers who are actually on IHSS. This question's for you. Have you ever gone without help or lost a provider because your provider was not being paid? Press 1 for yes. Press 2 for no. So let's see if we have another.
Dorothy?
Dorothy, would you like to ask your question?
And the timesheet's always late. It's always late. It's never on time. And
what
the
about
payroll. The payroll's always late. Always.
Okay. So you have trouble with...
And it gets me and him into an argument because of that. I told him it's not my fault.
And have you lost people because they haven't gotten paid, Donna?
Yes, I have. I lost 2. My daughter, Julie, and Chancey. Because they were waiting, the company did not pay them until after they quit on me. And I had to go hungry. I couldn't cook. I couldn't eat nothing. I was getting to a low weight.
Well, that's horrible,
from this day on, I'm still upset about it. What can we do? What can we say?
Well, for the short term, what we're going to do is we're going to present your story and a lot of other stories at the hearing November 1st at the City Hall. I'm sorry for your difficulties, and I really appreciate you calling in, Donna.
Ain't got it.
Oh, I guess I'm quick on the trigger finger tonight. Sorry, Donna. We're going to try to get one more question. Shantae, welcome to the call. Do you have a question or a comment for us?
Yes, I do. The payroll is ridiculous. It's always late. Like now, I'm waiting for a payment that's from August. And it used to, a couple of years ago, was, we mail off your timesheet, you get your check within 7 to 10 days. Now it's taking 2 and 3 weeks. And as of today, I've been waiting for 3 weeks for my check. And I have a disconnection notice. So my lights will be cut off, probably tomorrow.
Wow. And you're an IHSS provider. You've been a provider.
I'm a provider. I've been a provider for years.
And so are they sending your timesheets back to you?
Nope. Timesheets come late. They don't come with the paycheck anymore. No. Ever since it seemed like they moved to Chino, it's been a big problem.
Okay, so and what you're talking about is the when they moved, centralized everything in Chico, California. You noticed it.
Yes, sir. Yes, a big difference. Because when they was out here on Grand, Los Angeles downtown, when you took in your timesheets, it didn't take long like that. Even when you mailed them in, because I've been doing this for years, over 10 years. And right now it's horrible, 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 horrible. Like I said, I'm waiting for 2 checks from last month that I haven't received. And by the grace of God, they didn't cut my lights off today, but I don't know what it'll be like tomorrow.
Shantae, did I hear you say that you haven't heard from the county or anybody about why you haven't received those August paychecks?
No, I went into the IHSS building this morning in Hawthorne, 12,000 West Hawthorne Boulevard, to see what's going on with my check. She checked the computer. She says one's been mailed out, and she says one's been processed. But that was over 5 days ago, she said. It doesn't take that long for you to get your mail.
Mm.
It's horrible. It really is. And today I was so stressed out. Edison just whipped my brain because I didn't know what to expect by 5 o'clock. Then when I went to the mailbox, it's not there. So I'm like, oh, my God, I got to wait a whole nother day tomorrow. Yep.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I really appreciate you calling in. And if you can get to the hearing November 1st, it'd be great for you to tell your story. If not, we'll try to pass it on.
I can make it. I can make it November 1st, Los Angeles Town Hall, correct?
Yeah, City Hall. Thank you very much.
City Hall at 8 or 9.
I think it's 9:30. It starts, right, Taryn?
Yes, it starts at 9:30.
Yes, I can make it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask the poll question, and I'll repeat it twice. And this one is for providers. Have you ever had to stop working for IHSS because you were not being paid? Press 1 for yes. Press 2 for no. Philip, would you like to make a comment or ask a question?
Hello?
Hi,
Hello?
Philip. Welcome. Yeah, you're on. You have a comment or a question for us?
Yeah. Actually, my name is Mike. Philip is the recipient. I'm working right now. I'm the provider.
Okay.
Hold on. First of all, I wanted to say, when you call IHSS, there is an outgoing message on every single person there that says that they will return your call within 1 working day. That is not true. That has happened less than 5% of the time I have called there. I don't even know why they have that on the line. Is blatantly false. I wanted to say that about 3 years ago, I was 9 months behind on my paychecks. I am currently 4 months behind on my paychecks. I also wanted to recite a case where I was shorted on a check, and I couldn't figure out why. And I called IHSS. I called all these people. I finally ended up calling Don Kanabe from the LA County Board of Supervisors, and then the very next day I got a call from an IHSS representative in San Diego. So the only way I could get a response was to call, this person who's super busy and is a lot more important and shouldn't be dealing with this stuff, but that was the only way I could get through. I could not get someone from IHSS to call me back. And it's a really difficult situation. I'm very glad that you're having this thing right now, because there's absolutely no person in the world to talk to. There's no agent to help us. There's nothing. There's nobody to complain to, because nobody cares. So we have a tough situation.
Well, I'm glad you found Supervisor Kanabe. He's a great guy, and we're going to really miss him when he retires or leaves office in the near future. But I'm glad he helped you get your problem. But you said you're currently 4 months behind?
Yeah, I wanted to add a little bit on that too. Now, actually, they send out these phone numbers, and they actually changed it this time. I can't remember what it was to say before, but now they send out the provider clerk and the provider clerk's supervisor. I think I've left 5 or 6 messages on the provider clerk's phone and 2 messages on the supervisor's phone. And then this time they added a deputy regional service administrator and a regional services administrator. Now, I don't know if that's going to be more helpful. I did call the deputy regional services administrator I think it was last week, actually. You know what? I never got a call back from her either. So I didn't know if that was going to help, but apparently that call didn't help much either. But you're the only people I've ever called at IHSS that actually picked up the phone and answered and tried to help me this call right now. So it's very difficult.
Well, I'm glad that, we were able to at least answer the phone, and, and I'm sure, Taryn, you can see, there's multiple problems. Not only are the paychecks late, but they have no one they can talk to or try to get the problem solved. Taryn, did you want to ask Mike any further questions?
Well, I guess my first thought is that I'm sorry that you're not being responded to, and that I'm really sorry that you're not being paid. Your story is compelling, and I'm curious if you might be available to come to the November 1st hearing.
That's usually kind of a tough time for me. I'm thinking about it. It's a Saturday at 9:30 at the LA City Council chamber or something like that.
It's Tuesday, November 1st.
Oh, hold on a second. I'm messed up. Okay, let me get a pen here. Okay, Tuesday, November 1st?
Correct. At LA City Hall.
Okay, what time is that?
9:30. In the Public Works hearing room.
Public Works. That'll be a little difficult, but I might be able to rearrange things a little bit. I'll see what I can do.
Can you tell me, do you have a sense of why your payroll has been delayed by 3 months? Do you have any idea what's causing this?
Let me add this. I receive, I'm actually on 2 payroll systems. I'm on IHSS and another completely different one called IHO. You may be familiar with it. The IHO is through the state. I think it's through the Medi-Cal program, and the IHSS is through the county. Someone here figured it out. They set that up for me, so I don't. But every time, now that you would think that the IHO being statewide would be a lot more harder and complicated. Every time I have called IHO for a delayed or any problem at all, they immediately responded. Never a problem with IHO. The one that governs the whole state works a lot more efficiently than the one that just covers the little county. I never understood that. But that's for comparison. That just proves it can be done, because IHO always does it. They've never been a problem. So other than that, I do have a sense that the people there may be a little overworked. They may have too many clients. This is the impression I get from talking to not from the provider clerks, but from the representatives that come out to see the fellow I take care of. I don't know what you call those people, but anyway, they have been increasingly receiving more and more and more clients, and they actually have had a huge turnover there too. I think it's because they just can't keep up with the workload. So I don't know if our provider clerks are similarly being, just so many clients they have to deal with it. They just can't answer all these phone calls or whatever. I would think that the root of that would be some government agency trying to cut back money on this thing, because we all know that Governor Schwarzenegger wanted to do away with it altogether. So there's probably maybe forces cutting back funds, and the result of that is fewer workers for more cases. I don't know. This is just my guess.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for calling in, and we hope you can make it to the hearing. Let's see, while we're looking for another question, I just wanted to clarify that the IHSS payroll is actually handled by the state. The local county offices don't do the payroll. And yes, you're right about they are overworked. I believe in LA County, the social workers have a caseload of up to 400 clients. No, I'm not saying that you should have late paychecks or anything like that, but I just want to make sure that The payroll comes from the state. The checks come from the state. The time cards come from the state. Raina, what?
Yes. Hi. In so many different ways. This is just. Would you like to know my question?
Yes, I would. Please.
First off, I've had several times when I've had workers who didn't get their paychecks and they did quit because they didn't get their paycheck. They refused to quit. They refused to work until they got their paychecks, and it took a couple of them over 3, 4, 5 weeks before they actually got the paychecks. By then, I had to hire someone else because of the nature of my disabilities, and they were just very upset. And of course, I called not only the IHSS person that you call for the timesheet clerk, and I kept getting recordings, and then 2 numbers to call the supervisors, and supposedly within 24 hours someone was going to call back. Of course, nobody called back. Called those supervisors, nobody called back. So within 8 days, I'd called over 8 phone numbers, so I finally had to go to the regional head and leave a message and say, look, I guess maybe I'll have to go into the big person. You know, I finally got a phone call within 6 hours. And they looked into it, and the one particular case, the lady got her check within 6 days. Now, why does it take so long and so much pressure and so much stress on me? And I kept getting told, well, that's not your responsibility for my social worker to do this. It's the caregiver's responsibility to watch out for her check. But if I don't step in, then my caregivers quit. And why should it take that kind of stress on me physically and emotionally, and as well as losing workers because of the system and the lack of thereof, because of answering machines and people not returning phone calls?
I wish I had an answer for you. And I mean, I can hear the stress in your voice, and it shouldn't be this way. And, you know, I apologize, and hopefully we're going to get some results from, you know, this hearing that's going to be held November 1st. And I want to thank you for calling in and sharing your story. And we'll just keep fighting this. Let's try to get another question. Deborah, welcome to the call. Would you like to make a comment or ask a question?
Hi, I'd like to make a comment. Can you hear me?
I can, Deborah. Hi, how are you tonight?
I'm fine. Thank you, Greg. First of all, I would really like to thank the lady from the Senate committee hearing who's there. I really thank you for taking the time to be here and hear our concerns. And my comment is I wanted to offer a possible solution to some of these problems. The one-stop centers are an excellent solution because they give you all of the forms that people are complaining about in one place, so you don't have to worry about whether or not you have all your forms. They give you the orientation information right then and there on the spot. They give you the background criminal investigation forms and tell you where to go to get the fingerprints. All of that is done in one place at the same time, and it really expedites the process. I remember when I first got on the program, it took about 5 months for my provider to get their first paycheck. With this process through the one-stop centers, it cuts that 5-month wait period down to about 2 to 3 weeks. So it really does expedite it significantly. And I would really like to see that become part of BPSS's standard operating procedures, and I would like to know if the lady from the Senate can help make that a reality.
This is Taryn Smith from the Senate Human Services Committee. Thank you for bringing that up. I am not familiar with the one-stop centers. Is that are there multiple centers throughout LA County providing these services, or?
Yes, ma'am, there are.
Well, that's an interesting suggestion and an interesting solution, and I will definitely take this back. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for calling in, Deborah. I'm going to ask the 4th poll question now, and this one's per everybody. So I'm going to repeat it twice. Here's the question. Have you or your provider ever had a timesheet returned? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. I wanted to ask you, at the hearing, Taryn, will there be an opportunity for public comment?
Yes, there will. We will have some scheduled witnesses, but we are clearing time for public comment. So if anybody wants to come and tell their story, we welcome you. We encourage you to come.
And if they can't come, obviously we're collecting, information here at PASC, but is there anything else somebody might do if they can't make the hearing? Is there a letter they can write or a phone number they can call?
You can always write to the committee. We're happy to receive letters. I do have to say they would not be read at the hearing. The hearing is where you've got the eyes and ears of your senators. But letters that might come in and might inform us on some of the problems are always welcome. Would you like me to give the address?
If you have it, you can repeat it, and then hopefully one of our screeners will also write it down, and then people can call in if they don't get it. But yeah, if you could repeat it once, that'd be great.
Sure. Okay, so it's the Senate Human Services Committee. We are at 1020 N Street. That's N as in Nancy. Suite 521. We are in Sacramento, and the zip code is 95814.
Nicole, would you like to ask a question or make a comment?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Well, I'm doing good. How are you? And feel free to make a comment or ask a question. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. My question is, why you guys don't invent a credit card for IHSS for us to get paid? Like when we turn in our timesheet, our money can go on the IHSS credit card.
I've never heard that before. That's an interesting suggestion.
That's what I came up with.
I think it's a very good idea. There are models for, similarly, I think we call them EBT cards. If anybody's on CalFresh, those cards are loaded on a regular basis, and it's an option that we will be exploring.
Yes, because that's what I was asking every, IHSS person. I was like, why you guys don't get an IHSS card like an EBT? So no one don't have no complaints, and they already don't pick up the phone in the office. So that's out of the question right there. You got to go up to the high top to, like Mike was saying, you got to do the administrator, and from the administrator, you got to go to the chief, and from the chief, you got to go all the way to the committee, and that's ridiculous. They should be able to pick up their phones. They get a paycheck like everyone else gets a paycheck. Why they can't pick up their phone?
Well, thank you I really appreciate you calling in, especially having solutions. We love, to hear people that have solutions for this, and we'll certainly make sure that that's brought up at the state level. Okay, what's... Adrian, would you like to ask a question? Hi.
I have a statement. I think that the biggest problem is with the timesheets because, like the gentleman Mike said about calling, you call, you leave a message, you wait till the next day, nobody ever calls. Then you go a step above and you call and you do the same thing. So you're 3 days waiting for someone to return your call. So you've wasted 3 days already. And like I explained again, I'm on the verge of being homeless because I can't get my pay. I'm 2 timesheets behind. Actually, it'll be 3 come the 15th. So, that's come and gone. I have to wait now the 16th to the 31st. I'll be waiting for that one next. I'm waiting to get the timesheets. And I think that the problem is when you go down to the office and you tell them what you're coming for, they say, okay, they put you in the system, but I haven't heard from them. 5 days. I had to go back down there again today. to try to find out where my money. I need the timesheet before I can get the money. So now there's a whole nother dilemma. So let me get the timesheet so I can send it back. Wait for the money, and I have to keep telling my landlord, or my management, I'll have the money, but I can't tell you when. I think that's the biggest problem, are those timesheets.
Well, I am so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I just can't believe how many people are actually being pushed to the point of almost being homeless.
Yeah.
We just have to figure this out. But thank you so much for calling in. Taryn, did you have any questions or comments? Oops, I'm sorry. I think we're so anxious to get as many callers on here that I'm cutting people off before maybe they're finished. So I apologize.
Betty?
Betty, would you like to make a comment or ask us?
Yes. Hi, my name is
Hi.
Betty, and I have been a provider for over 20 years. And my mom recently passed away last year, and I was her care provider at maximum amount of hours. And it seems like since she passed away that I've had nothing but problems with time cards. I work off of the registry only. There seems to be a large problem with the registry, with them not going through the application of what you're qualified to do and who they give your name to. I've gotten calls from quadriplegics. I've gotten calls from people that, need really severe medical assistance to where people are not qualified to do that, and they're sending them out there on interviews, or they're giving the person the name, call this person. And I've talked to several people, and I've been in the medical field for over 25 years, and I said, please, whatever you do for your own well-being, please protect yourself, because this is you that we're talking about. So if you're a quadriplegic and you person has done this work before, because if not, you're going to be in a world of hurt. I mean, things are not going to go well. I also have a problem with the pay part. When the pay changed to where it does go to Chico, California, I've had nothing but problems with time cards and pay periods. And actually, I had a set of twins that I took care of for 23 hours only, and I still have not been paid, and that's been since May. I have went all the way to the top several times calling, never received a phone call back. And this is out of El Monte, California, not received a phone call back. And these were a set of autistic twins, and if anybody knows, they're very difficult to deal with, and I've never been paid. Now, 23 hours doesn't seem like a lot, but 23 hours to me was a lot at the time. I also seem to have a problem with just with the pay, how they do the time cards. I got my first write-up. You did your time period wrong. So I had to call the social worker to explain to her, this is what happened. I didn't mean to do it this way. Okay, well, we'll excuse it this time. But it can't ever happen again, or you're going to go, the next step will happen and you'll be out of work. I chose to do this type of work because I care for people. I have different degrees and I can be working somewhere else, but because of my mother's death, I chose to do this in light of her, help somebody else out. And it seems like a lot of people get the runaround. I don't feel that the registry list is done correctly. It's not done it's not categoristically done. You should, whatever's on the list, whatever you say that you are able to do, is what your name should go out on the list to a person that needs that type of help. And that's not how it's being done.
First let me say I'm sorry to hear about your mother passing away, and I hear you loud and clear about the registry, and that's something that, we appreciate your comments, and we do have control over that. And thanks for the information about the timesheets and the payroll issues, and I hope you can come to the hearing on November 1st. Taryn, did you have any quick last-minute comments or things that you'd like to say before we end the call?
I would just like to thank everybody for their participation. I want to thank everybody for the service that they're providing to their consumers, the consumers for helping their providers when they feel they need to. I encourage you to come to the hearing on November 1st at LA City Hall. And I want to assure you that even if you can't come, the information that we've heard this evening will inform the conversation that we have on the 1st and any follow-up policy decisions that are made. It's your voices are being heard, and I think it's really important, and I really appreciate that you're all taking the time to share your experiences with us here. So thank you.
And again, I want to thank you and Senator McGuire and the rest of the committee that's going to come here. Again, those of you on the call, there's going to be a hearing November 1st, and the hearing is called The Checks in the Mail, and they're going to be taking testimony and providing, you'll be able to provide testimony about the IHSS payrolling system. And again, thank you for all of the screeners here at PASC, and those of you that called in, we really appreciate it in answering our poll questions. And again, if you need a consumer or a provider, you can call us here at PASC, or if you have other questions or issues, we can help you try to get some of your problems solved. So thank you very much, and good night.